So we're going to put all the panels on the roof and then we're wiring them in series. So what that does basically is it retains the same voltage but it doubles the capacity. So we have 4 100 watt panels here, and if we wanted to we could multiply the voltage, but instead we actually want 400 watts instead of 100 watts. So what we're going to do is just wire them in series, so we need to connect all of the positives together and all of the negatives together. So we're going to get these up on the roof and join the cables.
We don't have a ladder.
Guys. We have a cooler.
We're efficient. Go ahead.
You're going to catch a solar panel shattering.
Okay, so this is our third one. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna put a fourth one right there.
Important to do this at night, otherwise the sun will kill you while you do this. Can you take it out?
Oh, I got it.
Yes! Ooh.
Okay, so just like the solar panels, we're wiring the batteries in parallel. That way we can double the capacity. So these are each 100 milliamp hours or 100 amp hour batteries, and essentially the deal with these types of batteries is that you can only decharge them to 50%. So even though it's 100 amp hours, you can only use 50 amp hours, and we have 2 of them. So that equals 200 amp hours of batteries, but only 100 amp hours of usable batteries. And that equation only works if you wire them in parallel. So just like you saw us do with the panels there, we're wiring positive to positive, negative to negative. So the voltage stays the same at 12 volts, but the capacity will double. And you can reverse this. You can wire them in series, so that way you can double the voltage, but retain the same capacity. That doesn't work for what we want to use these for. And there's also series parallel, but we're getting too complicated. So let's just do this. We didn't get it on camera, but Evan was moving the batteries and he accidentally touched the 2 cables from the opposite terminals together, and it was a pretty big spark. Okay, so we're just touching the negative terminal here, and you can see we have battery power. We have between 12.7 and 12.9 volts. Perfect. Oh, look, it has a little smiley face too. You see it? So we'll do a quick walkthrough of the entire system, and then we will test it out for the first time.
Stop looking at the camera.
So let's go outside real quick. check it out. Okay, so we're just gonna walk through the power flow real quick and then we'll power it up for the first time. So up here we have our 4 100-watt solar panels wired in parallel, so that means we get 400 watts at the same voltage. They're all connected there, all positives are together, all negatives are together. Jointed, the wire comes around here, after that huge mess, goes around here, goes into our little electrical center down there. We'll get to that in just a moment though. And there's also this yellow cord right here, which comes out of there, goes around the side here, and goes back into the trailer through this slot. We'll get to that in a moment as well. Let's head inside real quick, and let's just take a look at our little electrical center down here. We can come up with a better name than that, I'm certain of it. Down here we have our batteries. Again, these are wired in parallel, so they're 100 amp hour batteries each, meaning that we get 100 amp hours usable because you can only discharge them to 50% capacity. And positive to positive, negative to negative. And then on the positive end, we have a 200 amp inline fuse right here that goes up into our fuse box. We don't actually have anything wired directly into the fuse box because we don't have any 12 volt appliances, but we're wired into an inverter right here. So we have our MPPT, which is right here. That's our charge controller. You can see the little green light on there. Means that it's positive. And can I see the camera real quick? You can see our little smiley face right there. We're pulling 12.7 volts right now off of these batteries. And this is our monitor, and this just wires right into the MPPT, right where the light is focused right now. And then we have both batteries wired into the fuse box. And then these two wires right here, these are actually those black wires from the solar panels that you just saw a moment ago outside. This is the back of that crate there. And this is the yellow cord. Now this yellow cord is going to go into the inverter in a moment. And we also have the inverter power switch right here. It doesn't have a built-in switch, so we had to get an external one. But whenever you connect or disconnect something, you have to make sure, you have to be absolutely certain that you're not pulling any load when you do that, because you will destroy your entire system. So this is simply just an extension cord, and this is going to go into the inverter. So it'll convert it from DC to AC, which is something that we can use, unless you're on a laptop charger, but that's a whole different story. So after that, this extension cord, as you saw outside earlier, and that pops right back in on the wall right there. So that little disgusting looking junction box right there, that is actually wired into the lights of this trailer, because a goblin wired this thing. Everything is hooked up right now. We haven't tested anything yet. In theory, we will plug this extension cord down here into the inverter, turn on the inverter, and then switch the switch on the junction box, and then maybe some light switches, and we will have power for the first time in the trailer not plugged into the grid. I'm just gonna flip this switch, and then we turn the inverter on, and then in theory we have power. Countdown from 3 with me.
3, 2,
1.
What? Oh my god!
We did it!
That was amazing. Oh, that one's not.
That one doesn't have a bulb.
No
It's okay.
bulb. Oh, it does have a bulb actually.
Oh, well, it's so bright in here. Alrighty, well that's that. We have solar in the trailer right now. I'm sure we're gonna have to revisit it sometime later because we absolutely did one thing or many things wrong. But we wired this thing ourselves. We have power in here. We have solar panels. We have batteries, MPPT. We got everything. Very proud of our accomplishments, and I'm happy that you were there with us. If you're new to the channel, I want to thank you. Welcome. You chose an awesome video to jump in on. This is one of the biggest projects that I've ever taken part of. Casey, what about you?
Mm-hmm.
She said, mm-hmm. So, super cool. We have lights. I'm ecstatic right now. Thank you for watching. check out our other trailer videos if you haven't seen them already. But if you've been with us the whole journey, I hope you feel as excited as we do right now. And I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and hit that little dinner bell next to it so you can find out when the next thing goes wrong with the solar panels or when we do our next improvement on the trailer. I'll see you then.
The dinner bell is for subscribing, just as a side note, not for liking.
Thanks.